When you are right, you cannot be too radical. When you are wrong, you cannot be too conservative. The moral arc of the universe bends at the elbow of justice. One of the greatest casualties of the war in Vietnam is the Great Society, shot down on the battlefield of Vietnam. I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. I'm not interested in power for power's sake, but I'm interested in power that is moral, that is right, and that is good. Almost always, the creative, dedicated minority has made the world better. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice, is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. Philanthropy is commendable, but it must not cause the philanthropist to overlook the circumstances of economic injustice which make philanthropy necessary. There comes a time when people get tired of being pushed out of the glittering sunlight of life's July and left standing amid the piercing chill of an alpine November. The Negro needs the white man to free him from his fears. The white man needs the Negro to free him from his guilt. There is nothing more tragic than to find an individual bogged down in the length of life, devoid of breadth. Don't let anybody make you think God chose America as His divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. Since being in India, I am more convinced than ever before that the method of nonviolent resistance is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for justice and human dignity. The past is prophetic in that it asserts loudly that wars are poor chisels for carving out peaceful tomorrows. On some positions, cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? And vanity comes along and asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? The art of acceptance is the art of making someone who has just done you a small favor wish that he might have done you a greater one. Human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. A lie cannot live. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. Science investigates. Religion interprets. Science gives man knowledge, which is power. Religion gives man wisdom, which is control. The principle of self-defense, even involving weapons and bloodshed, has never been condemned, even by Gandhi. Every man lives in two realms, the internal and the external. The internal is that realm of spiritual ends expressed in art, literature, morals, and religion. The external is that complex of devices, techniques, mechanisms, and instrumentalities by means of which we live. Seeing is not always believing. If I wish to compose or write or pray or preach well, I must be angry. Then all the blood in my veins is stirred and my understanding is sharpened. Pity may represent little more than the impersonal concern which prompts the mailing of a check, but true sympathy is the personal concern which demands the giving of one's soul. The limitation of riots, moral questions aside, is that they cannot win, and their participants know it. Hence, rioting is not revolutionary but reactionary because it invites defeat. It involves an emotional catharsis, but it must be followed by a sense of futility. We must use time creatively.